Hello, and welcome to another episode of Budget Bike Reviews. Today, we're talking about the XT1200 Super Tenere. This is you probably know what this is if you're watching this, but it's a 1200cc adventure touring bike by Yamaha, right? Big parallel twin, shaft drive, 6-speed, made for 2-up adventure touring. I bought this bike after a test ride I did in 2024. It was the last year they made them. This one is a 2012 with about 32,000 miles on it. But this bike, I got it thinking I was going to go really long, hard, far miles on it. I have since decided I'm not riding to the trails. I know, it's crazy. Why would I take a 600 plus pound adventure bike, ride it somewhere, take it off road, potentially, okay, I have these big crash bars, right? Big crash bars. I have these nice hard cases here. All this shit to take damage if I drop it, right? If you crack the case on the motorcycle, it doesn't matter if you had the crash bars on it. If like this has a skid plate, this has all the protection you could possibly want on it, right? But if something happens and you're out in the middle of nowhere, it ain't it. I've taken this on some muddy trails, through a couple construction sites, working a gravel lot. Okay, it has street bias tires. I would say they're like 20% off-road, I'd say 20% off-road, 80% road. But I bought a little 150, a little Honda XR 150, and it's so light. I can put it in the back of my truck, my truck out there, right? I can put it in the back of that by myself. A little ramp in the corner over there that I can put on the tailgate and roll my little 150 up into it by myself. Okay? So I'm not doing that with this massive motorcycle. This thing is huge. It has a 6.2 or a 6.5 gallon tank. It weighs factory like almost 600 pounds. Never mind the crash bars and everything else that's on it. Like, I fully believe that this Super Tenere is pushing like 700 pounds without me on it. Okay. The wheels, yeah, they're spoked, they're tubeless, so you're losing a little weight there. But it's got like crash bars. It's got crash bars, these highway pegs that I put on, hand guards. It's got heated grips, just something else to go wrong, right? USB plug, auxiliary lights, nice big touring windscreen from Puig. I've got hard cases, top case. I've got these little auxiliary fuel bottles. I've got every guard known to man. I've got a big skid plate. Right? I have all this stuff on it, and I got it this way because, dudes, adventure bikes are crazy, right? People say we're in a craze, okay, adventure bike craze. I don't know if it's necessarily a craze, but I find I fit very well on adventure bikes and dual sports. I'm 6'2", I weigh about 230, 240 pounds. I'm a lot of legs, okay? I'm a lot of legs. I'm a very leggy guy. But dual sports being my little 150 right there. And then the Super Tenere being my big adventure bike. And in my head, riding somewhere, going to off-road trails, it makes sense, right? Oh my God, I can go camping off my Super Tenere. Well, why would I do that when it's only getting, I get 40 to 45 mile per gallon on it, right? I'd rather just have my truck and put something in the back and take it there and then ride it when I get there and then unload it, take it off, ride it, load it back by myself, and I can have a whole, it can be a whole thing. I can save gas. adventure bikes are fine on gas. I see like the real low ones, like the Versys 1000, get like 30s, maybe 20s, depending on what you're doing. This thing gets, like I said, 40 to 45 mile per gallon, 6.5 gallon tank. There you go, getting over 200 miles on a tank. Fuel light starts flashing. This is the first. This one's a first gen. So the first gens didn't have the weird like fuel display thing going on, right? So on this is the fuel gauge. And on the new ones, as soon as you lose that, it's not the top bar. They changed this whole thing. But as soon as you lose the equivalent of this top bar, you have a half a tank. On this, I will go clear down to 1 bar and be sitting there for a long while. As soon as it starts blinking there, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars at 6.5 gallons. So you figure you're getting about what, gallon and a quarter, right about gallon and a quarter per bar, and it's semi-accurate. The second gen of these, yeah, it has this weird fuel thing going on. And then I didn't want that, and I didn't want the electronic suspension that I thought you could only get, which you can only get on the second gen. But I thought every single second gen which is after 2014, the only thing that changed after that year was the color. They updated the clutch basket and the timing chain tensioner thing. But other than that, the same bike, same rims, I'm pretty sure. Same seat for the most part. Like, look how chunky that freaking seat is, dude. Like, oh yeah, that's a whole pad right there, right? Right? I mean, look at that, right? Okay. Well, anywho, so you can get these bikes, and this is why I make this series. You can get these bikes for anywhere from like high threes, low sixes for the first gen, and they'll go. I've seen hundreds of thousands of miles on these, like no lie, and I fully believe it. This thing has been great. All I've done is change the oil. I did all the fluids when I first got it. Right, I did the coolant, which for the coolant you take off this side, and then your radiator's wrapped like this, and then your fan is actually up in here. It's a side-mounted radiator to, I don't remember exactly why they did it, but I'm pretty sure it's to make space for your motor, which sits right there, right? But yeah, so radiator's under here. Drain it out. I believe it's the other side. There's a little bolt you take off. It looks like this on the other side. Yeah, so you pop this little bolt off. Looks kind of like that, and then it drains out. Then you pop the cap on the radiator. You add new. It's crazy, I know. So I flushed it. I ran it. It's been great. Clutch fluid. It is a hydraulic clutch. I have a little cramp buster, whatever you want to call it, cruise control, if you will. But yeah, hydraulic clutch. I find it's pretty easy. The guy I bought it off, I've had all this like rubber damping stuff put on to cut down vibration, so I didn't think that was really an issue on the test ride I had. But we were doing, like I said, quite spirited test ride. Yeah, this is the this is the factory clutch. I don't know if it had necessarily the factory fluid in it, but I went ahead and changed it. I drained it all out. The other side, near where the coolant, the little coolant drain thing was, I went ahead and drained that out of there. Added new. Sat here and worked it. Plunger. It was nice and dirty, so I'm glad I did it. Brake fluid, similar here, except you have to go up, crack the nut, squeeze, close the nut, let go, add a little fluid, over and over and over and over. So, and then oil's really easy too, but I'm not gonna get into a lot because it's removing the skid plate, blah blah blah. All right, but yeah, so I did all the fluids, things ran immaculate, no problems at all. The worst I had was like it kind of hesitated to start because I had it in the winter and, kept turning it over because I was eager to ride it. And, yeah, it just battery kind of shit out. And now we have a little tender here. Yeah, but yeah, bang for the buck. This thing has more power, I think, than anyone ever will need on the road. I really think so. It hauls at all speeds, all gears. First gear, it goes up to almost 45. Second, goes up to over 70, pushing 80. Third, 95, I want to say. And then anything past that, I mean, you're touching triple digits. And there's track use only, right? In theory, track use only. What's the top speed? I don't know. I didn't hit it. But I did find that the speedometer is about 10% off. So if you're going 60 mile an hour, you're only doing 54. Does that make sense? And I read that that was a thing back in the early 2010s that a lot of manufacturers did. Was the rule of thumb was roughly 10%. Because they didn't want to get sued for potential you going over the speed limit because it was dialed a little too generously, right? So instead of being 10% under, if you're 5% over and you're like, oh, I'm doing 57, 58, and you're really doing like 62 and you get pulled over and now it's a whole thing, right? So yeah, little quirks. There's not really too much to say. It rides flawless. It is, like I said, it is a big parallel twin. And little history lesson real quick. So Yamaha made, in the 80s and 90s, they made that phaser, okay? The phaser. They brought the name up to be the FZ series, okay? The FZ07... And then there's another series, the MT01 was the first Master of Torque series, okay? It was, I want to say an 1800cc V-twin, big power cruiser looking thing. But Yamaha got a lot of their experience off from that bike and applied it to this. Because big twin cylinder bikes, they vibrate a lot. Even though the other one was a V-twin, it still was heavy, right? It was a heavy, big displacement motorcycle. This was the first 270-degree crank in 2010 that, in a parallel twin, because now they're everywhere, right? Adventure bikes. They're crazy. They're everywhere. The Honda Transalp, the Suzuki V-Strom 800, the Tenere 700, the Aprilia Touareg 660. There's all these bikes that are a parallel twin 270-degree crank, which just means that the cylinders go doo-doo. So it goes like a circle, okay? Circle, 4 quadrants, 90 degrees, right? So your four cycle being on an inline 4, each hit is a power stroke on at least one of the pistons, because you have 4 firing sequences, or four cylinders in in all 4 quadrants of the firing order, correct? So in this, being a 270, you get a blank blank boom boom, blank blank boom boom, and that boom boom gives you a lot of torque consistently, because it's half on half off instead of off boom, where that's very efficient. The 270, which this kind of started, goes off boom, right? See what I'm saying? And you can thank the Super Tenere and the MT01 for the entire MT series. Yamaha is real proud of their MT series. The cross-plane motors, CP2, CP3. Well, without the Super Tenere, you don't have those, because that's where they got a lot of their parallel twin 270-degree crank. It's where they got like there's just the name off the MT01. There's so much stuff that this bike did for Yamaha, and I'm glad they did it, because there's like the FJ09, the FJ1300, right, or FJR 1300. I'm having a hard time here. But all these bikes in the early to mid 2010s brought their name and moniker and all this technology and stuff. Like the FJ series uses the same dash off this. Like an early FJ09 uses the same dash that's on a second gen Super Tenere. So when you start like really like matching up the parts, you really kind of put the picture together of like what this bike did. And it still does good. Like very soon this will be considered a vintage bike, right? 20 years old or 25 years old. Well, this is a 2012. So we're already 14 years in, and it hauls ass. It might need new tires at some point, because quite literally the weight of the bike and the amount of power that the shaft drive is putting to the ground tears the tires up, right? It is a great problem to have. Like, oh, my steak is made too well. Oh, my bike, it eats tires because it puts power down so well. It's a little expensive because it's a 19 17-inch wheel, both tubeless, spoked wheels. Let's go ahead and have a look at those. Tubeless spoked. So you got, this is your wheel hub, and that's your shaft drive housing. And these go out to here, and they each have these little holes that the little spokes go through. And then to tighten up, you need an Allen wrench. I believe it's a 6 mil. And you gotta just hold it where you crank that down, it tightens it up, right? So with that wheel, my point in that was just with that wheel size, back then it was kind of uncommon. It was very common to have 17-inch front, 17-inch rear, and then dirt bikes or off-road motorcycles were 21 and 18. Harley sometimes had like 16 and 18. Harley's a little weird. But then again, I've seen like custom cruisers that are built out of a Harley or, you know, a chopper build or something like that. And they've got a big 24-inch. So as far as like buying tires, they are kind of cheap compared to like, you know, I want to say back in the day, because now so. But these do not, this motorcycle doesn't require specialty tires. It doesn't need like white wall tires or anything crazy, because it needs that higher weight rating, right? So yeah, it's been a good bike. Here's my little history lesson. I have all these stickers off of all these dealerships I've been to. You know, the helmet I wear, yeah, so on and so forth. Yeah, I'm from Ohio. Yay. But yeah, so let's go ahead and look at the dash and fire her up. All right. All right. And we got, these are auxiliary lights, USB charger. We got traction control right here, TC. This one controls the trip and odometer. I don't remember what this one does. Oh, it does the top ones. This is your MPG, your live overall air temperature, which isn't always right. I don't remember what this is, low. And yeah, and then there's also, we also have mode right here, sport touring. That's about it. As long as I've owned this bike, I had it in touring for like the first week, because it's a little muted. But after that, just kind of gave it hell. Sport mode all the way. I've had a great time with this bike. Other things, so budget bike review, I'd like to go over some of the accessories and stuff. So yeah, we got the hand guards, the crash bars, the highway pegs. I got lube those. All these extra little dash plates. These are actually just Pelican cases that the previous owner threw on. So this actually has all these stickers from like Yellowstone, where was it? Devil's Tower, South Dakota, more, I don't know why he's got so many Yellowstone in there, maybe he went twice. Outer Banks, Great Smoky Mountains, so Key West. Yeah, so when this guy I bought it off of, he said the original owner bought it, went out west, put 20,000 miles on it. Brings it back after like a year and a half, 2 years, all over the West Coast. And and there was also a Redwood National Forest. So he went all over the West Coast. And he was just riding it building it how he wanted while he was out there. I don't know what kind of money this guy had. But so 2013, 2012, 2013, when this bike was being ran, must have been a really good year for the guy. But yeah, so he took it out, ran the hell out of it, brought it back, sold it to his buddy. This was actually his buddy's first bike outside of dirt bikes and like a riding school. And I found that genuinely kind of hard to believe. I was like, really? Well, his second bike, the guy I bought it off of, he got a K1600 BMW, like a $30,000 inline six. I don't know if he got it new, but yeah. So let me go ahead and put you down for a second. Okay. So I got these like little fuel bottles back here. These are MSR bottles. This one's all covered in fucking metal shavings. Just been shaking the fuel around in there, just beating the hell out of it on the inside of here. Yeah, like I said, Pelican cases. This is an Oxford top case. It has, I don't remember the literage. There's so many like storage liters that it's rated for, but it fits a full size. Like I wear a 3X or a 4X. 3X or a 4X sized helmet. I have a huge head. Thinking I'm a big guy, but this thing fits my helmet plus insurance plus a tool roll plus anything else I could throw in here. My jacket even sometimes I can throw on top in here. This thing holds a shit ton of space. If you're a budget conscious dude like me, you might find that the Oxford case, it hits a sweet spot, like $100. The mount's a little more, but for a top box that locks and has reflective red stuff on the back, and all it does is just screws into the base. Yeah, well, sorry, set up the light. But yeah, and then I guess there's really not a whole lot else to say about it. I think these bikes are great. In the future, I would love to buy another one. I probably would get a second gen without the electronic suspension, because with the second gen you get cruise control, updated clutch basket, cam chain tensioner adjustment thing. It's no longer an issue. This one had all that replaced on it before I even bought it, so it's good to go. Yeah, but that would be my advice. If you can, spring for the second gen without the electronic suspension. With cruise control, I've got this little like cramp buster. Like all it does is just hold the throttle in a specific spot, right? Well, I don't trust this. I'm sorry, I just don't. But an electronic cruise that's from the factory and standard. Yes, I don't know what the replacement cost on an electronic suspension is. I've seen online like $2,500 for a full electronic suspension replacement, and I don't know if that includes a full fork rebuild. I really doubt it, but that might even just be like the motors and an ECU flash or what have you. I'm just kind of speculating. Don't take my word as gospel. But yeah, I guess that concludes my budget bike review of the XT1200Z Super Tenere ABS. There's more I could throw in there, but yeah, that's been a good bike. The forks are freaking huge. Those lights are awesome. Black, it's fine color. Honestly, I don't think they made it many years in black. I didn't particularly care for the black, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Beggars can't be choosers, and I really wanted one, so yeah. 2-piece seat, 2-up adventure tour. Go get your wife or girlfriend, throw her around the back. Yeah, and then yeah, that's all I have. Appreciate it, guys. Like, comment, obey, subscribe, whatever you want to do. I'm gonna keep making these. I plan on making at least a couple more this year. This bike though, it has been, if it wasn't so heavy, if it wasn't just going through a mud hole, losing the front end, knowing you might have to pick it back up. That's a lot. Truck, dual sport, cheaper, like smaller bike. I mean, yeah, you can get these for a steal because they're like review bombed. I'm kind of looking at like a V-Strom 800, V-Strom 1000. It's 100 pounds lighter. They make like a little less power, but like the power to weight, it doesn't matter as much as you think. I have this little 150 here. Right? It makes like 10 horsepower. This thing kicks ass. It's a little white 150L. I'll do a review on it sometime, but it's so light. I can just pick it up with one hand and wheel it around. I would not even try it on that. I would not. You're not. No. It's that weighs like 200. This weighs like 200 and some odd pounds. 600 plus. Come on. I appreciate what it did. I appreciate the rides I've had, the experiences I've had. But as far like I can take it out on my road, right? Anytime I want, I can take it out, go crazy, ride it around. But when it comes to if something happens and you're off road and you brought only your motorcycle, I'm not in a position as a single dude with a kid. I'm not gonna be calling up like my uncle or my cousins and being like, hey, you know, I fucking broke my leg, I'm sitting in the hospital. No, because I'm not gonna put myself in that situation. You see what I'm saying? Off-roading is dangerous enough. You can put on all the gear in the world, you can hit a random little route that bumped up because of a rain or something, right? And you could just not to fearmonger, but just me being me and understanding help may not be coming. I ride alone a lot, and if I crack my engine case or something, I cannot justify having a 600-pound weight, maybe even 700-pound weight, in just sitting on the trail, pissing oil everywhere. Yeah, I'd rather it be a little 150 or something. Now, I did say I'm like looking at the V-Stroms, the 800 or just the middleweights. They're all 100 pounds lighter than the Super Tenere. The power to weight's a little worse. Maybe, I guess, a little worse than like the Primo top of the tippity top, because like the African Twin's kind of crazy as far as like power to weight and like features and whatnot. But to drop down a class, the things get a little cheaper because a shaft drive system for that is a lot of money. Just wheels. I looked at a set of wheels, some aftermarket spoked wheels, just to have if I wanted to have like an adventure set and a road set. One wheel, $1,800 or more. The cheap ones were $1,800. No, I'm a very budget conscious guy, right? That's why like I buy cheap bikes, ride them for a while, figure out what I like about them, what I don't. I don't like plan on selling them unless I find something like very undesirable. When I did my Vulcan review, the Vulcan weighs 900 pounds. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what I was thinking. This thing weighs 600 plus. And yeah, it's a third the weight, but for what I want to do, it's just too much. It's too much. All right, I'm gonna stop ragging on it. Future videos, definitely gonna do one probably on the XR 150. Might do one on my dad's NC because he is the DCT. And then I may also, depending on what I get or if I get something, you know, I might do like a mid-sized adventure bike thing because that's kind of where my head's at. I also plan on I do test rides at events when I go to them. I do go to events, but when I go to test rides, I have like a list of things that I like want to go to, and like things I want to ride and try and see, because ultimately I'm trying to find a bike that I feel fits everything that I want. The Super Tenere is an incredible motorcycle for what it is, but it just weighs too much. And after I put like 2 and 2 together, like, hey, if you drop this, not only is it going to suck picking it up, but if you broke something and you can't get out, start walking, because there's, like I said, no one's coming. I have too much pride for that. I'm sorry. I'll call 911 if I bust my leg, and if there's no cell signal, I guess I'm crawling. But that's where my head's at. And there's, out of every test ride I've ever done, the Super Tenere was probably, honest to God, I've test ridden an MT10, MT09, MT07, Tenere 700, Tracer 900, almost the entire Yamaha lineup, right? I've not managed to test ride a FJR, because they discontinued it same year they discontinued the Super Tenere. And they didn't offer it because that's a lot of motorcycle. It's a very expensive motorcycle, and it's kind of hard to put on the truck, is what I was told. But out of all the Yamahas I've ridden, out of all of them, this, between this and an XSR 900, those are my two favorite, because the seats were good, and just they felt so livable and lively and just good, and I really messed with it. But XSR 900s are expensive. Super Teneres are expensive. I would rather have something else. I like, the XSR is nice. I don't think I'm gonna go for one. Maybe when like prices come down a little bit, because they're pretty premium right now. You know what I'm saying? So I guess there's where my head's at. I've found, yes, I fit on dual sports and adventure bikes and a handful of street bikes. I've had really bad experiences with cruisers. But out of all the test rides I did last year, I'm very glad I got to go home on that Super Tenere. So, and that includes, like, I don't like Harley Pan America, or a Harley Street Glide, or a Harley Lowrider, or a Harley Road Glide, or an Ultra Limited, or they had all these Harleys out there I test rode. I didn't care for them. Indians, they got sold this past winter. When I went to their test rides, they were fine. I felt they were peppy, right? They were peppy for what they were compared to even the Harleys, because like the Lowrider ST Harley made a lot of power for the displacement, and it was relatively light, and so on and so forth. But when I left the test rides each day, I was so glad I got back on my Super Tenere. And I guess that's where I'm going to end this review, because that is probably the most glowing remark I can give. It hauls, it screams, it's fast. It is a great motorcycle if you're not going to go off-road. And I kind of want to, just a little bit. Or should I say, I want to go off-road enough where I can't justify keeping a 600-pound, 700-pound pig in the stable, if that makes sense. I try to only have 1 or 2 bikes at a time, hence the little 150 here, right? But the Super Tenere has a lot of money wrapped up in it, even for a budget bike. It's kind of costly to insure. It's not the best on gas, and then just the overall livability with it being so heavy. If I had I could go get a trailer, right? I could go get a trailer and trailer at places, but that is not what I want to do. I have a big truck out here, and okay, it's an F-150, but it's a full-size truck. I have a full-size truck, and I want to be able to do full-size truck stuff, go places, haul stuff, right? Just use it, right? Even if I don't keep the truck, right? Even if something happens, I decide I want to get rid of this truck, I still want no matter what kind of truck I get, I want to be able to put it in the back and feel confident about it, instead of like, if how am I gonna, okay, well, I can't put it on the ramp because it weighs 600 pounds and it's gonna bend the metal. No. But yes, okay, I'll end the review here. My final closing statement. Yes, I will say it one more time. When the test rides were over, I am so glad I got to go home on my Super Tenere, because this thing was, it checks a lot of boxes. It's really opened my eyes to what like a big displacement, like touring bike, adventure touring bike is. So if I get like a V-Strom or something, I'll always remember my first. So I appreciate it. And that concludes it. Thanks, guys.